So, what happens in the journey? See that we have three powers of the human mind. We have a power of knowledge, we have a power of desire, and we have a power of action. Simple to understand. Everyone has that power. But at the same time, if our knowledge, desire, and action are governed by the likes and dislikes, habits and conditioning, it cannot make me happy. No? It cannot make me happy. Not it makes happy people around me and the society. So when these three powers are guided by the wrong notion, wrong thinking, false perception, so who does this? That is where the master says the past impressions. It is coming from previous birth. No, what we say, talk about DNA. DNA at the purely physical level, but at the mental DNA, if you can say. So what happens? These impressions leads me to suffering, causes the suffering to me and to others also. To put in a simple way, this Eastern wisdom, which is an instrument of knowledge, aims at self-discovery, leading to an end of suffering and awakening to permanent happiness. That is the subject matter of meditation or mindfulness. Now see that without desire, the mind cannot act. Leave all the desire. So should I become lethargic? Should I become, stop all the action? No, the master is saying if the mind acts with the wrong notion, wrong thinking, that creates a binding desire. And the binding desire leads to likes and dislikes, preferences. And so that is what I was saying, that the method by which the mind gains the right knowledge. First thing, that guides to the unbinding desire and prompts me for the right action. The entire process, gaining that knowledge and insight by the practice, by our experiences, is known as sadhana, is known as mindfulness or meditation practice. Now see that I have already discussed about it, but I am repeating. So it means how the mind gains an insight. I have to leave my preferences. I have to drop my likes and dislikes. Let me keep it aside and understand what is this knowledge. Follow the path. Not the other way around. You go to a doctor and ask the doctor, give me this medicine. Why? Because I have this problem. Prescription medicine is always given by the doctor. So as specific practices, specific principle is to be applied by the teacher to their students. So you have to understand it. It's nothing to do with that you have to follow blindly. But you have to listen to it. You have to follow that journey. If you don't follow, there is no change. So there the word seeker comes. Seeker means sadhaka. Sadhana means practice. Very practice of yoga, meditation. Then what is the end? End means the goal. What is the goal? Now see another problem that majority of the people do not understand. They gave too much importance on a mantra, I like Kundalini meditation, but it may not be suitable for you. So you like particular prescription medicines based on your preferences, likes and dislikes. You don't understand. So what happens? Now think of this, what happens? That your focus is on a prescription medicine. Your focus is not on the cure of a problem. Are you understanding? You don't focus on the goal. Goal is not there in the mind. So we get obsessed with one meditation, one practice, other thing, one teacher, other teacher. Teacher says don't get obsessed. Don't be attached, including the teacher. But you know, this teacher says don't get attached, so let me get attached. He seems to be a nice guy. See that? Then nothing happens. So no seeker succeeds on the path by forcing one to follow the prepared path. So here lies the two great secret of it. And then what is that? In every sadhana, there are two major steps. One is the personal effort. Who makes the personal effort? The person who has become a seeker. The person who has yet to become a seeker has to make a personal effort. What is that personal effort? Includes the right knowledge, the unbinding desire, and constant practice. You'll be surprised when I explain the Kundalini meditation. So pay attention. That is the highest understanding coming from one Upanishad about the Kundalini meditation. We are aware of a lot of breathing and a mantra and sit like this and stand like this, and you will have a glow as if the transformer will be created inside you so that our body lightens up with a bright light. We are talking of awareness and consciousness as light, and we say, oh, now you have a glow. So the first is the personal effort. What is the personal effort? It is like an ascending process. Our great master Vivekananda used to say that I have to move from the lower to the higher nature, step by step. It is a personal effort. Now see, the second major step comes. When it comes, when the personal effort reaches to a saturation point and you have become a perfect seeker. So what happens? The descending of the higher consciousness into that vessel who is a seeker enters naturally. So one of the great masters, Sri Aurobindo, says, to allow the divine liquor to be put into that pot should be empty. That pot should be receptive. So I have to make that pot receptive. It means I become the seeker. So personal effort is that part. And once you reach to the highest saturation point of that personal effort, there the second step is total effortlessness. That effortlessness at the time when the personal effort has reached to a saturation point, now you stop doing everything. That higher consciousness descends. That descending process is known as a blessing and grace. You don't go to the any person with a long beard like me and you say, bless me. Why should I bless you? First you bless yourself. So now we have created a wrong notion about this blessing and the grace. You should respect the teacher. If the teacher is crazy, why should I respect? If the teacher is like me, why should you respect? There is no way. So with that background, this text was written, which is known as Sadhana Panchakam. I have briefed in the last two sessions that it has 5 verses, and every verse has a 4 line, and every line has 2 practices. Every line has 2 practices. So let us take the one line. Now understand also the sadhana, this sadhana panchakam, uh, all the 40 steps incorporates your personal, professional, social, and the spiritual lives. And it starts from where you may feel that it is not connected, as if it is a disconnect with the practice. So that is why if one is a seeker, that is why it is known as sadhana panchakam. The 5 verses on sadhana, the practice, can only be undertaken by a seeker. So if the seeker is not there, and you will see in the beginning, the first 8 or 16 steps in our daily life helps to bring about the change in the perception towards my personal, professional, social, family life. It also gives a deeper insight into how should I act, how should I think, so what happens. Like yesterday evening, how to make yoga a way of life. First, you start from the first step. That was the question asked yesterday in the very beginning. We say yoga is a way of life unless I know that yoga is a way. Breath is a way of life. How can you stop breathing? Do you ever say that I'm tired of breathing? Let me stop for a week and then I'll return again. Wrong question. Wrong question. You see that? Wrong. So that level of understanding is required. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. That is the first step. Second step, tadutitam karamam swanushthiyatam. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. That's what I have been saying. My master always have been saying, first gain the right knowledge. When I say Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge that helps me to discover my true nature, so I must have a right knowledge. So now understand these steps. The first step is, what is the first step? May we receive by studying the knowledge of the self-discovery every day. Who receives the knowledge? My intellect. If the intellect is biased, then how can I receive the knowledge? See that. The intellect has its own preferences. Some people have preferences that they will only listen to those teachers who has a long beard. America killed a guy who also had a long beard in Pakistan. No, I'm just kidding. Not biased against anything. So what is important? That needs to be properly understood. What is to be understood? That the knowledge is power only when we know it, understand it, apply it. So now our master says that the knowledge must help you to perform almost the daily activities in your life. That is the first part. Second part is that, did you contemplate and reflect in your life that your ego is totally insignificant in the world? So that your mind says, your intellect says that there is something, some existence to be discovered. Second part. And the third part of the knowledge is the pure knowledge that helps us to remove the ignorance. Now I keep my ego intact. Look at the life as such. What would be the life? Now I'm 61, maximum another 10, 20, 30 years. Take it 100 years. right? Compare the 100 years with millions of years have passed away, and the trillions of years follow. Compare it. What is the ratio? What is 100 years of life? What is 100 years of life? Insignificant. Now, what is my place, the physical place in the whole universe? I'm sitting in this room, and if you consider this body as a box, I would say that maybe 200 boxes can fit into this room. What about my whole house? 10,000. What about my Gilbert County? How many times I'm smaller than the Gilbert County? Then Gilbert Township, then Maricopa County, then Arizona, then entire United States, then entire Earth, and the entire solar system. It appears that I'm even insignificant, smaller than the mosquito and the dust particle. See that? Look at this. This needs to be understood. That helps me to know. Now let me know. If I'm totally insignificant in time, in place, and also in causation, I celebrated my birthday. A small event. I get an immense pleasure today. And now the event has stopped, passed. Next day, we are the same person again. Our masters are saying that you celebrate an event in such a way so that the entire life becomes a celebration. That is the journey of meditation and mindfulness. That is why we need to study. The first is Vedo Nityam Adhiyata. We should study. Study. Study means we should get these principles in our head. So these masters are saying that it doesn't mean that you are not intelligent. But do you want to update and upgrade your knowledge? They humbly say, come on, are you ready? So only the seeker listens to it. Again, the person doesn't listen to it. Or they will ask you the wrong question. But then they lay down a simple principle. 1 hour of learning and the practice, you should devote minimum 10 hours of contemplation and reflection. But I don't have a time. Peace is my essential nature. Take one principle. So now I have heard the teacher. Now I'm going to contemplate. I'm eating. Let that thought return to my mind. Peace is my essential nature. It will change the quality of eating. Food may be of any kind. You will drop your likes and dislikes and preferences. For the last almost 38 years of marriage, I might have said twice or thrice, this food is not, I don't like this. But whatever comes on the table, I have eaten it. Why? It gives me energy. It gives you a deeper insight. Eat to live or live to eat. But in the outside, you talk of this. This is one example. One example. So understand that 1 hour of learning and listening from a teacher needs 10 hours. So you keep that in your mind. We keep that in our mind. What we keep in our mind daily, totally garbage. Yesterday night you had some differences with your honey. In the morning you remember this. And it continues throughout the day. That is why we have to study. The first principle is to study with a clarity. So what he says, 10 hours of contemplation. So what is, and then leave it. The time will come, the intellect will inspire you, will force you. The moment you wake up in the morning to do the practice and sit completely. Remove the garbage of wrong notions from your life. That will help you to understand how this journey can become a way of your life. How the meditation, that is the first principle. Now the second point comes, how to study. Remember only the word, meaning and the knowledge hidden into it. In a map you show, here is United States. Is the United States there? No, it's a pointer. All the meanings are a pointer. What is the knowledge? Oh, so you become aware of the knowledge. You don't visit United States, but still you know it. So the knowledge to be understood and studied, first go to the word, find out the meaning of the word, and then what is the essence. What is the essence? Patanjali says, Shabda Arth Jnanam. So how to incorporate that in life to pick up the principle? Pick up any book. Pick up the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. You are listening, so I have already started this sadhana panchikram. I am giving it, listen to it. So what it means? Pick up only one principle. Peace is my essential nature. Don't allow the mind to go against the peace. During the day, whether you are dealing with an object in the kitchen, for example, or in the garden, or dealing with a human being. Even the other person outside is 100% wrong. I don't want to put my peace into any risk. See how you start incorporating. Then only the mindfulness becomes a way of life. First principle. First principle. So you can download any book you download. The principles are the same. What you listen and learn every week. That is what happens in driving also. You pass the written examination driving and you have given the test, you have a driving license. Even if you leave driving for 10 years, you can still drive. Same thing applies to swimming. I learned swimming when I was 18. Do you ever forget swimming? Do you ever forget driving? No. But I forget these principles instantly. And then we try to rationalize. Then we prefer, oh, this guy is right, that guy is right. For transactional world in the applied life, I should use it. But for a spiritual life, for a discovery insight, no worries. So just take peace is my essential nature. Pick up any principle. Emptiness of the mind is meditation. So while eating, ask your mind, are you empty? At least you create a budge in the mind. So by regular reminder, recalling, that is the real format of the study. So I'll be doing the meditation, but I just give you a brief of the second practice. The second practice, it says karma swa anushthiyatam. It's a beautiful, that we will take up next time, but just give you a glimpse. So this, the masters of the Eastern wisdom has classified our action into different types. So when I'm able to classify the different actions, I know what needs to be done. It is the karma that creates a lot of problem in relationship, in a personal, professional, social life. So he says that with what motivation deeper inside you need to perform an action. I'm performing an action, I'm giving you a session. This is also karma. This is also an action. So with what motivation I need to perform that action? How we can classify actions? Is the action duty and the responsibility? I was just talking about freedom must be used with the responsibility. I have a choice. I have a lot of money. I can dominate over you. So I have a freedom because of the money, so I can dictate you. That is one action. So then ask Bill Gates. Now I'm just giving an example, whether we like or not. So he uses the money, again with the responsibility. Just one example, whether we like it or not. So the karma is prompted by the desire, unbinding desire, or a binding desire. Do I have a correct knowledge of the binding and the unbinding desire? So it means every action is prompted by what? By the knowledge. Is the knowledge right in the mind? So it will prompt you, it will create a right desire, and the right desire will create a right action. One simple example, you wake up in the morning and your mood is totally upset. You go to the kitchen, lift a cup and it falls down. What? You make a tea and you don't like it. You made it unconsciously. So right knowledge, desire, and action. And then you say the tea was very bad. That is a wrong notion, that is a wrong perception. So we will understand the first is pick up any principle. Pick up these audio files. Ask yourself, what is the principle involved here? Did I understand it? Let me keep this for about a week before I go to the second one. And you are continuing your practice of meditation, you will see within few weeks the life will change. Let us start our journey. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. We will take up the second one. I'll give you a mathematical. So stage 1, the eyes are closed. The eyes are closed in the stage 1 and the mind is facing inside. Instantly, what will happen? You see that? When you have studied, you understand clearly. What do you understand? That to discover the self is the goal of meditation, and that meditative state is discovered by the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom, which acts as an instrument of knowledge, not by the sense perception. I cannot see the real self by my sense organ. I cannot find the real self by the mind. That is why the mind is moving inside. And I can promise you, when you live into that knowledge in the mind while doing the practice, what is that simple step? Mind is facing inside, whether it is looking at the space or emptiness. What will happen? It is the mind through the sense organ prompts the body to an action. Yet the body will move into the state of steadiness naturally. That subtle awareness is required. See that? How the knowledge can benefit. So the mind is looking inside, casually looking inside. Sometimes you are walking and you say, come on, look at the sky, how beautiful it is. So I'm not saying beautiful. So casually you are pointing to, the mind is pointing to the journey inside, my friends. And then we settle ourselves. That settling in the stage 1 is being comfortable. Now pick up the point of being comfortable again. From the point of view of knowledge, how the knowledge is gained by the intellect, by the principle, how that principle is known by the study. Study I have already explained you. So now see that first let us experience. Move the mind on the neck joint. Neck joint is physical. And then I say feel the presence and experience sensation being comfortable and steadiness. So what is sensation being comfortable and steadiness? It is at the subtler level. So it is not being comfortable is as important as mind moves from the lower to the higher nature. What is lower? The physical. What is higher? The mental. And then we still move higher. Once we have a right knowledge what we are doing, you are totally absorbed into the meditation from the very first step. Now check it from the same knowledge point of view. Move the mind on the shoulder joints. And now it becomes easy for me when there are few people. It doesn't mean that I don't like many people. Because I have understood 2-3 people, so personalization becomes very easy. So move the mind on the shoulder joints, be there, feel the sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. So you see that for all of you in that group, it becomes a personalization is easy. You guys are not moving the body. You have understood the importance of steadiness. But in the bigger group, if someone moves, I have to customize. Instantly, I have to change my instruction. So move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the top of the head to the top of the head to the toes. You are looking at all the joints. Now the knowledge works. It moves from one joint to the other. At the same time, it experiences sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. My friends, experience of sensation, being comfortable and steadiness is a recognition the mind is moving from the physical to the subtler level. And you are the testimony for it. And now the step 3 of the stage 1 is being carefree. We ask the mind naturally that all these thought, feeling, and the experiences happening in the mind is different from you. So I gave a simile that you are standing across a road watching the traffic. Another deeper simile is that you are looking into the sky, the birds are flying. And now check, you are aware of the space where the birds are flying. You are aware the birds are flying means they are constantly changing in the mental traffic, in the mental sky, but the sky remains the same. Can I become simply aware? It needs a principle to be understood thoroughly and deeply. And the moment you have understood that principle, what happens? You experience a sense of freedom. You become carefree. Who cares you and causes the suffering? How simple and easy it is. So in these 3 steps, we move to the second stage. Second stage, I keep it simple and I keep it same with the little changes. Will follow the 2 steps of this purification of the mind. But understand now one thing more. You are driving at a speed of 100 miles an hour on a highway. But if you become aware of the body, you see the body is totally still. So there are two sides of the mind. The one who is engaged in the world outside, working, the other side remains the same. Once we understand this, we're going a little deeper. So we look inside the rib cage. That is what I say, that you look deep inside the rib cage or the chest and maintain your awareness of the space. That is the other side of the mind, which remains the same. And the front side of the mind, start breathing quick and short breath from both the nostrils, playful breath. Now see what is going to happen. Continue, quick short breath. Quick and short breath. Now you have a right knowledge. So you have a right desire, and that is converted into an action. Outwardly, it may appear it is a short and a quick breath, but something deeper. And stop it, do nothing. So you see that why I say do nothing, remain in that state of awareness, knowledge, and experience. So the same mind moves to its own other side. What is that other side of the expression? You may experience as if the mind is absorbing deeply, deeper, and deeper. What do you find when you go deep inside? There is only one. Outside in the world is many. So let us repeat it. Look deep inside the chest and the rib cage and start breathing playfully, short in the quick breath. Continue. And stop this, do nothing, live in the state of awareness, knowledge, and experience. So, next time you should remain aware that your rate and the rhythm of breath is uniform, or the mind reacts to the step. And if the mind reacts to the step, make it sure that you caught the mind. It wants its own ways, it wants its own prescription medicine. Without the diagnosis, it means I need to do it, do it, do it. Not only 2 minutes, maybe we can be doing for 10 minutes to get rid of that mind. Now, in that state, we start breathing deep, long, silent inhalation without making a noise. That is another way to put the knowledge into the breath. Total silent breath during inhalation and deep, long, and loud humming sound while exhalation. At the same time, two things. You are looking at the other side of the mind. It means beyond that humming sound. And you also see your next humming is deeper than the previous. And then everything happens naturally. Started. As deep, as long as possible. That is what we need to do. Continue with the deep, long, and the silent inhalation and and stop this humming. We will swiftly, with awareness, move into the stage 3, which I say the nyasa. Your breath is little deeper. The moment the breath goes in, you move the mind inside the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips or from the fingertips to the shoulder. Choice is yours. but maintain your awareness. The space inside or the darkness inside is the highway. Breath is your vehicle and the mind is the driver. Now see what happens when the mind is driver. But it follows the deeper silent breath. What will happen to the mind? The mind will not run after the thoughts because it lives in the heightened state of awareness. And then what it sees on the highway, nothing, the space. Are we approaching to emptiness? Answer is yes. I have no problem opening up this understanding in this session. Now move the mind, the breath inside the left arm. You know the way, either from the shoulder to the fingertips or from the fingertips to the shoulder. You will experience that a little deeper breath is uniform. Means what? You have started working on the mind. You will actually enjoy the very process. And now move the mind inside the right leg, from the right side of the waist to the toes. During inhalation or exhalation, the quality of the breath is deep, silent, and slow, moving the mind on the breath, in the space, on the highway. Are we educating and enlightening, empowering the mind? The answer is yes. Are we helping the mind to see how to go within? In the field of awareness. When you fall into unconscious sleep, that is not the way of journey of meditation. And I'll move the mind inside the left leg. Now move the mind inside the spine, from the top of the head to the tailbone, and from the tailbone to the top of the head. With every inhalation, the mind rides on the breath in the space inside. Last week, perhaps I talked about descending and ascending. You will experience descending of the mind means the mind gently drops and moves. It seems natural from the top of the head to the tailbone. And when the mind rises from the tailbone to the top of the head, you will experience as if something is missing while rising up. I was explaining about the personal effort, ascending process, blessing and grace, descending process. So this is just a symbolic expression of that. And when the mind lives even into that symbolic expression, it takes you to a variety of experiences, changes, continue. And in the same process, you can add one more point. That becomes the stage 4. The moment the breath goes in, the moment the mind starts moving from the top of the head to the tailbone, the mental saying, dropping, Om Shanti, as if Om is at the crown of the head, manifest as Shanti, gives a fluid sensation as if some fluid is pouring down into the spine, reaching to the tailbone. And allow the mind to rise when the breath is coming out, reaching to the top of the head. So during exhalation, you do nothing. You just make a personal effort as we understand. And while breathing out, while breathing in, instantly, deep inside the crown of the head, Shanti. That Shanti ends at the tailbone. While breathing out, normal journey. Shanti. So once the mind discovers Om Shanti deeper inside, then only it expresses through the body, sense organs, in the mind outside, living in a transactional world. So in that state, leave the Om Shanti, leave the deeper breath, three-pointed awareness of the breath that we do in the last step. Let us know the breath is, the breath is going in and out. You feel the sensation of the breath, and no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. So mind is not outside when we experience deeper sensation, relaxation, stillness. It is living within. We have a conscious experience. That leads to variety of experiences. So continue. Three-pointed awareness of the breath is actually doing nothing, but still. The mind may become crazy at any point of time. Who knows why it becomes? Because of the past impression. So we maintain outer state of sensation, relaxation, stillness, steadiness, carefree, comfortable. In that state, we are aware of the three-pointed awareness of the breath. Do nothing, remain as you are. Now see, when we are in the state of doing nothing, is it the second major step? Yes. What we discussed about grace and the blessing. And one day it is going to happen. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences today. How are you, Lara?
I'm good. I'm still a little sleepy. I've had a lot with running around and training. So for me, at one point I was like, I initially thought I was going to lay down to do the meditation. I was like, that's not what I need to do right now. And so when we started with the breathing today, I started to feel like get that fire kind of going within me. So I kept trying to like pull that energy up. Just so I have more energy for the day. And I was more empty today, I think, than I have been in the past couple of days. I don't know where I went. It was like just this spacious awareness and just
That's good.
kind of more empty a little bit today.
Yeah, that's a deeper practice. And when you analyze, your mind was complaining, let me lie down, and you did not do it. So it's another way to empower the mind. You're educating the mind. So next time the mind complains of the same thing and you continue doing it, then what is going to happen? Then you are able to separate. The challenge is posed by the mind with the wrong notion will go away.
Right.
That's a beautiful way to understand. How are you, David and Jerry?
Very, very peaceful, Girish. I mean, always thank you. I really enjoy the priest or the discussion before and today in particular. I really enjoyed it. My meditation was just very peaceful. There was very little resistance. My arms fell asleep or got numb during the breathing exercise, which was interesting and stayed that way right till the end. But I wasn't bothered by it. I just noticed it and moved on. No, it's great. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. So you see that in future practices, the body will experience a total freezing and the numbness, and the wrong notion from the mind will come and it will say, now you are gone, leave the practice. So that is the problem. It means I cannot go deeper. So deepening, some people experience the freezing, numbness, and tingling sensation and out of the body. Just you experience deeper state. Other people directly move through the prana, the energy. As if you start feeling the prana, the energy goes into the body. And so there are millions of ways we experience. How the mind expresses in meditation is very typical, and it's a personal experience. It is not replicated. Every time comes something new. So how about you, Jerry?
Doing well, thank you. It was a focused meditation for me, very pretty effortless. really. There wasn't a lot of
Wonderful.
and actually there was some distraction with Stone. He brought his toy in. I did notice some things, but it didn't move me out of my meditation at all. And the breathing up and down the spine with the Om Shanti, just such an expansive experience.
Yeah.
It's really different. I don't know if expansive is the only expansive, but then also really rooted.
Yeah, really rooted, yeah.
Both ways. Both ways. So it just really felt heavy in my seat. Kind of noticed that, but then also this expansion.
Expansion as if you are rising higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
That's really a beautiful experience. So understand that all the three experience indicates the progress.
Mm-hmm.
So during the entire practice, it is totally effortless. I do it, casually. It means the mind did not pose any challenges. And David rightly said, this is what our master says, that if the mind and the intellect is 100% clear what we are doing, it has a clarity and a conviction, the practice always succeeds. So it is not that the second half we did the practice, but that practice was supported by the clarity, the knowledge and the principles. You see, that is why the masters, every master in the Eastern wisdom, they talk and they talk and they talk, and then they also inspire their students not to talk. They are two different ways, different meaning. So we only talk to make clear those principles, and the mind someday it picks up. Oh, this is it. This is it. My master used to say, I used to ask him a lot of questions. So you used to say, you see that you just think that you are blind. I said, okay. Now I am explaining about the white duck. I say it is white in color. So you are blind. Do you know about what is white? See, this is the journey. That is why we need a master and a student relationship. So it is white in color. So when I said, I know it, he said, how do you know it? You are blind. So what is your next question? So my next question is, what is white? Oh, it is like sun which is bright. But I don't know what is sun. So I got it. I immediately caught what the master is saying. And my mind cannot explain. My mind cannot know what is white. Forget about the duck. I can say it's a bird or it's an animal. But to say white it's a big... that is what happens. On one side of the mind is the word, but the mind is blind to the other side where the meditation is. So that is why these principles are applied. Thank you very much.